Good afternoon, everyone. I asked that if you know the song, please sing along. She said, do you love me? I tell her only partly. I only love my bed and my mom. I'm sorry. Many of us know the infamous Drake. He is one of the biggest influences of our pop culture. For those who don't know him, he's just one of the biggest rappers of our generation. Many don't remember that before he was actually a rapper, he was an actor on Degrassi, the 1979 Canadian teen drama. Might remember the name Jimmy. Degrassi is a show for teens about teens who face a multitude of obstacles in their everyday lives, such as teen pregnancy, drug addictions, rape, bullying, abortions, domestic violence, and mental health issues, and many more. In this show, Drake plays the role of Jimmy Brooks, the basketball player who comes from a wealthy family. But he's not your typical jock. He is actually very humble and very open-minded. In season 4, the episode Time Still Stands, it was actually a very controversial and emotional episode for the audience. It's the episode where Jimmy Brooks, or Drake, gets shot by Ricky, who's a white male and considered a social outcast in the high school, and he was actually getting bullied at the time. Although Jimmy survived the attack, he was actually paralyzed from the waist down, and as the season continued, we saw him struggle not only to get back to his everyday life, but also not living anymore with the fact that he cannot play any more basketball. Degrassi was a huge part of Drake's life and career. Still to this day, he gets remarks about being Jimmy Brooks. During the show, he was actually a rapper and an actor on the side. Eventually, he picked to be a rapper for full time. If you watch Drake's I'm Upset video, you might recognize some of the Degrassi members from the cast. And he even included Ephraim, who was Ricky. Degrassi as a whole is known for its realness and the way it attacks real-life issues. This episode in particular is known for its originality back in 2004. It had a great impact on our society, which is why it's such a big part of our pop culture to this day. Shows like Degrassi are highly needed. They are exposing the world to all the real-life issues that other people are facing all around the globe. I've had a personal attachment to this episode and the topic it covers. This past year, I walked out of school to join a protest against the NRA's law. This year in particular, there have been numerous shootings back-to-back, and we don't see much reaction from our government. Over the last week at Syracuse University, we have received shooting threats. Although we didn't face any real shootings, living in America makes these threats very scary. This is a huge explanation as to why this is considered a pop culture. School shootings are extremely prevalent in the U.S. A recent CNN report stated that over the last 10 years, there have been 180 school shootings and 356 victims. The U.S. has one of the highest numbers of school shootings. According to Levy and Maloney, who are both PhD authors, the first school shooting was in the 1999 Columbine High School shooting, where 15 students, including the gunmen, were shot at. Back when the episode was actually shot, the topic of school shooting wasn't big. Over the years, we have obviously seen this issue increase. In an MIC blog from 2016, the directors were asked why they chose to do an episode like this, and they stated that they wanted to bring something else to national television where teens are shot at and experienced. Just this past year, there have been 22 school shootings, so we might ask ourselves, why does this continue happening? Where is our government when we need them the most? And we have seen a huge public outcry with all the protests happening all over the nation. In an ABC News article, they brought up the idea that these patterns were patterns in these school shootings. Most of these shooters are considered to be social outcasts, just like Rick, and they tend to look up past school shooting strategies and try to use them again. To this day, the Degrassi episode is very controversial, not only because of the topic, but also because Drake is the one that's being shot at. Seeing Jimmy walk away from the shooter makes the episode even realer, since the victims in real life cannot have another chance to look back. This episode exemplifies a value which our society upholds. It's situations like these that make Americans feel hopeless. Our parents are scared to send our children to school because of these situations. So we might ask ourselves, when does it stop? When does our government put an end to this? When do we say no more to gun violence? Thank you for joining my TED Talk.